Looking right at us.
Great.
Good evening, everybody. This is Joe Vitale with Writers of the Future out in Los Angeles. We're talking to one of the judges and one of the winners, and we'll get him to properly introduce himself in just a second. Remember, guys and girls, this is a yearly thing, and if you think you're a decent writer or a decent illustrator, you should submit, and you can't win if you don't submit. Go ahead.
I just realized, and I'm really sorry, I go by different names for each of the things.
That's fine. So we're
Go.
doing writers tonight. So
Yeah.
So go ahead and introduce yourself properly. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Lazarus Black. Nice to meet you.
And what are you?
I'm a winner. I'm a first place winner of Writers of the Future from the third quarter of volume 38.
And name of the title of the story?
My winning story is called Psychic Poker.
I love this. That's just a great. I'm sorry, this is a good thing. I like that all the way again. Give him a little teaser of not too much, but give him a little teaser because I want him to go out and buy 38. So.
Oh wow. My brain just went completely.
I know it's a tough. Well, we'll come back. We'll come back.
No, I've got it.
Okay.
Psychic Hermit is forced out of his shell to go compete against 5 others in a poker tournament that will decide the fate of reality.
That sounds most interesting. Y'all, guys, the only way you're going to get to feel the whole story is to go out and buy 38. It's volume 38. It won't be available till June. When is it? June? Is that what they said? Yeah, June.
June 29th, I think.
So, yeah, no, I already got one. Whoever sent that question, you're not getting mine either. I got 2, actually. I got one that they sent me to read, and I got one that's signed and autographed. You're not getting either one. Sorry, guys. This is how it works. Yes, you will get some for Christmas, but not now. And by the way, don't forget, we are out in LA, and I will be on Coast to Coast coming Tuesday, so don't forget about that. And I will be introducing quite a few authors to the fact so they can get on Coast as well. So now it's a little different for you. I know you know a lot of these people already, but what do you think about the staff, Author Services, and Galaxy Press?
They work so hard. They really do. This is their baby. They're passionate about it. It's all
for me. You grab that mic for me. I just want to make sure you're a little bit louder. That's all.
Is it? Oh, it's okay. They work so hard. It is no small undertaking to put together this entire thing. I mean, you have to. It's an anthology, first of all. So there's publishing involved. There's editors. There's editing. Herding cats of different stories, all from authors that this is pretty new to. So, requesting edits from people who are not used to fulfilling edits, that's a big deal. And you have all the components of the publishing end of it. And then you have the award ceremony on top of it, which is its own animal entirely. And then you have the workshops, which is essentially a writing conference. I mean, these are 3 separate events being put together, and it's all done by one staff. There are different heads and different components, but John and Emily John is the president of Galaxy Press, but he still oversees everything. Joni is the lead for the event and the workshops, but even then, there's the crossover and Bleed is incredible. They work so hard. I'm so impressed with them. They're so kind and completely 100% dedicated to the success of the authors. The endowment that happens to support all the writers and the illustrators is entirely based off of it's a legacy. L. Ron Hubbard was an incredible writer and realized that he wasn't going to be around forever, but fiction was. So he used his influence and his estate to provide for the future. Not just letting people flounder about how to figure out how to publish their stories, but teach them how to write good stories, teach them what it takes to make a career out of it, and launch it. And it's launched some really powerful, successful careers, and I hope to be the next one.
First time winner? I mean, first out of the box one is what I should say.
I had 5 to 6 honorable mentions. I say 5 to 6 because one of them was this exact same story got honorable mention twice. And this is my first. I never got a finalist, settle a finalist, or silver. I just jumped immediately up to first place winner.
That's just excellent, guys. The reason I bring that question up is because I don't want y'all, if you don't win the first time, or the second time, or the third time, not to keep submitting. I've interviewed people here that have won 38 times before they won. Actually, the guy who did that is a friend of mine, and I've known people 34. Luke Wildman was 18 last year, so. Don't give up. And when we say this, we're not talking 18 years or 38 years. It's 4 submissions a year. So you can submit up to 4 times a year. And if you happen to miss one, just submit the next one.
And a lot of the times that the reason why someone will get an HM is because, and David Farland said this frequently, the rules state that once a story reaches a silver honorable mention or higher, semifinalist, finalist, whatever, then that gets put to bed. He specifically said that part of the contest, if a story was really, really good, but he thinks it could be improved, he would actually just drop it down to an honorable mention, hoping that they would address it, fix it, and resubmit it. And that has effectively won.
Yes, and you're not the only person I've heard say that too. It just seems to be the way to go. I gotta say though, them people at the service so nice, they scare me. They're so nice over there. First time I met them, dude, I was like, oh man, I'm like, I'm looking for the guy to, the clown that jumped out the closet with a knife or something. They're just such a bunch of sweethearts. And the only way you're gonna find out people is you submit and win. Somebody asked me this question last night during the interview. The gala is invite only. The hotel is invite only.
Sorry.
That was weird. Anyway, guys, you can't get here unless you're invited. So you got to win. You get invited. And so what do you pay for nothing, right? Except for your talks, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. All getting here, in the hotels, that's all author services. That's all part of the package. The accessories, the food and the talks. That's different. It's nominal. I mean, it's Hollywood, so it's like, it's like a tourist destination. Yeah. It's nothing, but at the same time, considering how much you get, like attracts like, the judges here are just as absolutely sweet and dedicated to the success of the authors, the writers, and the illustrators. That's what they're here for. All the judges are screened to make sure that they're educators as well, because there are a lot of people who know what to do, but they're not willing or able to communicate and share their knowledge and their information. Everyone here is really, really, really dedicated to, passing it on. That they've had their great careers. They are extremely successful. Now it's, what do? They actually want to be known as the person who finds the next great author. David Farland, rest his soul, specifically said he enjoyed being a kingmaker. And really, that's what this is all about.
It is. It's one of the reasons I got involved. It's I want to see next. I'm bored. Sci-fi and fantasy kind of fight right now. Just my own personal opinion for anybody. Don't hang on this gentleman. It's coming from my big mouth. I'm just ready for something new, man. I mean, I've seen some really good stories last year. I've seen some really good stories. I was actually quite taken with most of the stories I read this year. It was kind of nice. It was fresh. It was new. That's why I say, guys, go buy Writers and Illustrators at 38. You're going to love it. There's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of good artwork, a lot of good stories. Just check it out. Read it. It's not even that. For a fast reader, it's probably not even that hard to read. Slow reading might take you a couple of days. But
my story is the shortest one in the entire book, and it's the last one. So if they read slow when they want something nice, just flip to the very last story and read mine.
Read it. Start backwards and work forward. That works good. So, typical question: what the hell made you think you could write?
I've been trying to write since I was a child. I love stories. I love coming up with them. And my mother, who was a librarian, and she said, you know what, you should learn how to write, and then you can share your stories with everyone. And I said, great. So I started to, but no one would read them. But if I picked up a pencil and I started drawing pictures, no one had a chance to say no. It took a split second. So I showed them that, and they reacted. That led me to a career in art. But at the same time, I didn't just create art. I went into advertising and creating stories to communicate, to tell things. And over my life, I developed an opinion and a point of view and things I wanted to say. I always loved sci-fi, fantasy, and I loved all the messages that you can convey through it. And then about several years ago, I learned about Writers of the Future. I'm at a point in my life in which I had a little extra time, and I read the book and I went, I might be able to do this. I'm not quite there yet. What do I need? I went online. I found some online workshops. I learned how to put two words next to each other without them grossing anybody out, and just applied my stories and my message behind them. And after a couple of years, turns out I did okay.
Yeah, I know it's not the easiest thing to do. Everybody thinks they can write, and I'm always like, really? Well, let's see what you can write. It's not as easy as I think it is, people. But again, I know I say this a lot, but you have to submit. That's the only way you even know if you're any good. Submit. Now, I'm going to say this right quick before I give them back to the floor. Don't give it to your mom. Don't give it to your dad. Don't give it to your sister. Get somebody who's going to give you genuine criticism, okay? Because mom's going to, oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever said. Then you're going to give it to a real writer. They're going to be, who told you it was good again? No, you need to start over.
Well, the exact opposite too, because you might have family that isn't into sci-fi and fantasy, and they might criticize it. Why would you write something like that? My father was that type of person.
And that's the Justin K says hi. No,
Hi.
We're live. We're not pre-recorded. We're always live, guys. Even though when we're pre-recorded, we're still live.
Oh, great! I should have edited myself.
You're good. It'll be edited later on. We'll look at them and see. But yeah, they always got live and come back and re-edit them. Now, so you hear what all the judges, they work the hell out of you, don't they? I mean, man, it's non-stop in this place.
Yeah, it is. I've been here several times as a judge watching. We put the illustrators through their paces, they put the writers through their paces, and it's interesting to walk through the hotels late at night and see them with their extra projects and see them sitting in the corners and sweat. Something about this year, the group of writers that I was with, they didn't sweat. We didn't write. It was something about the personality, the background. Everyone was here, boots on the ground running. They knew what they were here to do. This is what they wanted. They relished it. And for some reason, just the stress didn't hit. And we kind of feeded off of each other, and everything came out great.
I know I talked to Ada when they were writing a 24-hour story, and they didn't seem stressed at all. Now, last year's group did seem stressed.
Yeah.
They a lot of them seem stressed, actually, but I guess different groups.
Yeah.
And of course, they shack them all up together and stress them out sometimes. But, they don't do it on purpose. Well, they kind of do it on purpose. They want you to know what it is to be under stress. They want you to know how it is. The 24-hour story, I think, is tough, but most of them pull through without to addition.
I also think this year, a lot of the writers have done it enough times, submit a lot. I don't think I know a single one that they won the very first time they submitted. And part of the process of getting here is trying to figure out how to write a 24-hour story. Now it's out. People know that when you get here, you're going to write a 24-hour story. I heard from one person that they actually practiced 24-hour stories for a week before getting here. To me, that would be even more stressful.
Yeah, it might be a little bit, It's probably just better to jump on and go. But what I've been surprised about in the last 3, because there was double winners last year, single winners this year. What I was really most surprised about is the egos didn't seem to get in the way. Nobody got mad at each other. They were sharing rooms and stuff. Nobody got vicious or upset. Or everybody seemed to want to work with each other. And did you find that too, or am I just hallucinating?
No, I found that too. I mean, the vast majority of people are supportive and good, and everyone who gets here desires to, be the best they possibly can be. It's also a different environment. I mean, this is a classroom environment. Depending, amongst the writers, amongst the illustrators, we sit down, and there might be a little bit of jostling, but we're also adults, and we've passed that teenage part, with petty jealousy going back and forth. We've read each other's stories, or we try to, and we get to we want to support each other. We want to learn. We recognize that person X writes a certain kind of story that I could never write, and I don't want to write. And the fact that they're writing that's fantastic. I can focus on mine. It just wasn't a competitive environment. It was incredibly supportive.
Most of the authors I met this year were more into fantasy and sci-fi. Do you have a preference? Or?
No, I don't. This story happened to be mild sci-fi. I mean, it's called Psychic Poker. So this story isn't about technology or spaceships, and it's not about magic. So it's more of the speculative fiction, general category. But I have some fantasy novellas up on Kindle, and I have an urban fantasy novel I've just finished, and I have a horror novel that's on the board, and I have love sci-fi, and I will eventually get to it.
So, I've talked to a lot of writers over the years. I've done quite a few authors myself in the 25 years I've been at radio, more than 500. Some of them really, really, really big names. And, it's funny. like Nick Pope, he's 9 to 5 writer. He goes every morning, sits down, writes 9 to 5. I don't know how he does that. If I was a writer, I couldn't do that. It would make me crazy. So how do you do it? I mean, it's just whenever it kicks you in, you got to give you time you like to write.
Oh, I'm privileged in that I have I'm my own boss. That my wife and I own an art gallery, and so I'm working 7 days a week. But I publish things for her art. I'm printing those things. I'm fulfilling those, fulfilling Patreons for her. And then I sit down at the art gallery at the desk and I write until someone comes in. But additionally, writing is not just putting words down on paper. It's conceptualizing, it's ruminating, it's observing, drawing inspiration. My stories are almost always people based. The character at the beginning of the story is different than who they become at the end of it. So I'm always interacting with people.
So I would think that would be harder to write than an alien-based story. Because aliens just becomes pure whatever the hell you want to write about. People got to be a little bit harder because people already have a preconception of what people should be. So you have to write through that to make us all believe wherever you're going with the story. Whereas an alien, we're just going to believe it anyway. Oh, it's an alien. What the hell? We don't care what it turns out to be. So it's got to be a little bit harder.
It could be harder. Aliens, I think, are a little more obviously going to be allegories for something. And if you have a message, you can design an alien to have it represent a kind of person. I think that is a risk. When you're dealing with real people, you deal with real people, then you're dealing with real events, and whatever fantastic elements you throw at them, they have to respond realistically, or it's trite. And it's not. I don't want to say it's not a good story. I'm just going to say that the story isn't about the person. The story is about the events. And
it's nice to know you can just when you're relaxed a little bit, you can sit and write when nobody's bothering you. Because when I talk to writers, they all have different ways they want. Like someone want to write late at night, someone to write early in the morning, someone write whenever they feel like it. I got a friend of mine who likes to write. He likes to get his car out the lakefront, just lay down on the grass and write, bang away a story.
I like writing around people. I love being at Starbucks. I love having the door open. I love hearing the voices of people for whatever reason. I'm not even going to speculate. Even when I was in college, I would always leave my dorm room open, and I just enjoyed the noise of people around me.
It's funny. I've been talking a lot with the illustrators, and Tom and Larry and I might have a couple drinks talking. And we have similar ways we can't sleep because we'll start in the morning, work till late at night. Tom, they're the same way. I'm going to put some kind of junk sci-fi or something on the screen that they've seen a million times and go sleep. Do you have that problem?
Yeah, there's a bit of a white noise factor that happens. But again, I'm incorporating everything into what I'm doing creatively. So if it's something that I've seen a million times before, I don't enjoy it. I'd like to have something different, something new, because I don't want to rehash the same thing, and I certainly don't want to copy what I'm listening to.
I usually set something up so that it don't necessarily be new, but it can be something I've seen 100 times. It's got to be just boring enough that I'll go to sleep, not quite entertaining enough to catch me. If it catches my attention a lot, it's over the way. I'm gonna watch it through to the end, no matter what, even if it is something I've seen before. So I strike a happy medium. That's why I ask, because I find about half the people here are like that, and the other half are.
I'm more like Kevin J. Anderson's process, and that is really exciting creative music, prog rock, prog metal, that I may have heard before, but it's engaging and entertaining. And I do find myself pacing my stories around those things, but music's a little different.
Yeah, music's a little different. No, Brenda, actually, Dave Farmer is gone. Sorry, baby. He passed a couple weeks ago. It's been a big thing here. He's going to be missed by everybody here.
Absolutely.
He was he wasn't the story. What was his position again?
He was the coordinating judge of the Writers of the Future.
So yeah, he's going to be sorely missed. But they brought in some good people to take his place, and we won't get into that tonight. We'll save that for another show. But they did bring in some good people to take his place.
Oh yeah.
I like all the judges I've met here. I'm not going to lie. And I know your other half. She's a great judge as well. And everybody I've met here has been really good. The only one last year, Larry Niven, I think I scared. It was a weird thing. I'd walk up to, and he was like walking away. He walked up this year, wrapped his arm on me. Went, "How you doing?" Walked me around. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the difference was. It was weird.
he's an older generation. He's he's a little shyer. He's that he's it's sad that people nowadays he doesn't publish as often now as he used to, and that that the greats, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and we have to read the giants in order to get further. And Larry's novels, Hammer of the Gods, just amazing work. We could not have some of the big blockbuster movies and even recent extremely powerful Netflix show if it weren't for the work that Larry did with his Meteor and Comet stories back in the 70s and 80s.
Christopher, all the judges here are famous pretty much.
Oh yeah,
big authors here. I'm not going to get into all of them, but Austin Scott Card's here, Tim Power here, the guy from Doom was here last year.
Sanderson.
there's some serious authors here, and I've been amazed. Frankly, they even talk to me because I'm not a writer. They look at me like, what do you want? What do you want? No, they all been great. Everybody that asked for me has been fantastic. They're a great group of people, and they're great teachers. Before I let you go, and you can go and iterate this, but I've learned more about writing, and I'm not a writer, mind you. In the 2 years I've been here, to me, it would make it easier for me to write. I mean, I've learned stuff that I didn't even think about.
Mm-hmm.
When I listen to them talk, I'm like, really? I didn't know you even did that to write a book. It's a great place, people. So if you get out of here, you need to get out of here to get it. You have to win to get here. You really, really have to win to get here. How you thought the courses went this year? I know they ran a little late this year. What day? No, I think the illustrators ran to 9 and y'all ran to 8.
Possibly several years ago, I designed the illustration course and I buried them.
Keeping people up to 9 o'clock.
Oh, I was merciless. They hated me and they loved me at the same time. There's a lot of stuff to crash in, but they're different tracks.
Yeah.
With the writers, being on the writer's side and learning that you're absolutely right that there's so much you can learn in such a short period of time, but you still have to put it into practice.
Yeah.
And no matter what creatively you're doing, to really infuse it, you have to practice and do it. That's what takes the time. I mean, someone can just say, do X, Y, and Z. There are web pages that literally list bullet points. Do it this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But, it might take 200, 300,000 words for it to actually take.
Yeah. No, guys, all you can do is submit. You can submit as many times as you want, as long as you're not a professional writer.
Once per quarter, and then you can do, and you can keep going over and over and over and over again.
It's 17,000 words, right?
Last I saw, it was 17,000 is the maximum. This is the very first time anyone's gotten close to it, though.
Yeah, you don't have to write 17,000.
No,
that's just a max.
I'm 2,400, and
again, if you've been professionally published, you cannot submit. Sorry, guys.
The limit is with writers. The limit is, I think it's two professionally paid publications.
It's on writersofthefuture.com if you want to go find out. It's over there along with the writers course. They it's over there too, so you can check them all out. Wolf cracked me up last year.
Wolf's awesome.
Wolf was just, he had me laughing so much.
Hi, Wolf.
Hey, Wolf, you've listened. Actually, I had re-interviewed him because his interview got cut off, but he had me roll. I'm like, stop it, dude. I'm trying to do it. And he stopped it. But he's great. And he hosts a blog on Writers of the Future, guys, so you got to go ahead and check him out. Now, I can't tell you he's just going to let you into the course. You're probably going to have some skills, but you can try.
Well, the Writers of the Future forum is amazing. That anyone can join that, and when you join that, you learn and you can talk to people, build a community, and then there are subgroups from there. The Wolf Pack is one of them. I don't know anything other than I know that some of the winners here were specifically mentored by Wolf to do it.
And I know there's videos from Austin Scott Card. I know Tim Powers. I can't remember the other, but I know there's 3 of them now. And I know they're planning on bringing on 4 more pretty soon.
And David Farland, a few years ago, formed his own writing group called Apex, which is an amazing. I'm a member of that, and that's where I learned all of David Farland's courses are free through there to learn too.
Guys, I mean, you can't ask for a better way to learn if you're up and coming writer. And even if you're a writer who hasn't, you've been published but you haven't really made any money, it's a good place to go, guys. You can learn all kinds of stuff.
And speculative fiction is the category for science fiction, fantasy, mild horror, things like that. Those are different animals than literary degrees will give you because they teach things like plot and tropes and things. And those, go ahead.
Well, you can't write serious horror, people. No sexual stuff.
Right.
It's I would think PG-13, maybe PG-17.
PG, the idea. So the books are used to promote sci-fi fantasy writing skills among students. So the books go into schools across the country, and and every author provides not just with their story, entire page of writing prompts to be used in a classroom, so that a teacher could have everyone read a story and then talk about it in class. So it has to be PG.
It's one of my favorite things.
Or G.
I guess after a while I get tired of F this. I just get tired of all the cursing and all the clowns that want to kill me and all those zombies. I'm about to tell you now, people, I'm tired of zombies. Just warning y'all, people. I'm going to zombie out on somebody. It's sometimes they just do too much, man. It comes to a point where we got to move on to something else. So
the concept of speculative fiction primarily is the what if. What if is the entire point of that story. If it's sci-fi, fantasy, horror, what if?
What was that, Gene? We'll come back to that later.
Let's go.
We got a bunch of weirdos coming into the chat now. Oh, yes, his name is Lewis. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, call him. Y'all are insane here tonight. Let me see before I let you out of it. Oh, also, before we get into them, I know we were talking about Arthur Services and everybody over there and a whole bunch of them that are fantastic. I mean, the whole group is. And when you come over here, they put you up at the hotel. They take really, 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 really good care of you. And it's at the Roosevelt, by the way, in Hollywood Boulevard. Yes.
Across the street from Grauman's Theater.
That's right. So they're taking good care of you here. They're letting you get in Hollywood, have all kind of fun. But you have to be, really, if you're going to make it, you need to be a serious writer, serious artist. I mean, just submit, though, people. I know I say this, I've heard me say this probably a million times now, but submit. Okay? Now, if someone was to commission you, say, on something that you're just not used to writing, would you take it? Something like maybe political sci-fi or something like that. That's a weird question, but.
No, that's a valid question. I mean, there's different types of writing and there's different types of art. You create something for yourself and then you're commissioned to do something. I don't think I know of any creative who can do anything that is too far outside of what they personally believe in. But it's devil's in the details. Specifically, what is it? I'm not going to take on certain projects for various reasons, and then there's others I'm like, oh, I wouldn't wait. Oh, there's a twist to that I didn't think about. Who knows?
Denise wants to know if you do any non-fiction work.
Yes. Long story short, I have written a book on the history of the alphabet. I've written a book on the history of tarot. I've written a lot of pages and documents and lecture series on art illustration and art direction, and I've written travel articles. So, and in advertising, I've written scripts for radio commercials and TV commercials. None got produced, and and copy ads.
Now, we're going to talk about the gala a little bit because we're going to get out here now. They had a big gala last night.
Mm-hmm.
Went on for about 4 hours, I think, all together with the red carpet. Now, guys, they put you on the red carpet. It was a little hot yesterday, but they put you on the red carpet and they talk to you and do interviews with you and snap pictures. A lot of media there yesterday. So what did you think? How did you like dealing with the other media?
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, most of the people out there were pretty professional, pretty nice. And I know a lot of them from last year. They know me because last year I went around taking pictures of all the media. I did it again this year, too, because it's, they work hard. Nobody ever pays any attention to them. So I just take pictures and put them randomly all over the place. But so the game itself, how did you like it? You think it was well done, professionally done?
I thought it was wonderful. I've seen them a couple times. They're trying to streamline them each time. I think they did some really, really great edits to make this very powerful. The singer at the beginning was
Oh,
fantastic.
was he? I know. I
You
was
know,
surprised how powerful a singer he was.
and the video of Frank Frazetta. I'm sorry that I love Frank, and to see him in that format talking like this about his own art, it was just amazing.
You know, when I was listening to Frank, I got to thinking he contradicts a lot of what I've heard from some of the other artists, and I was just, I don't know anything about art. I mean, other than what I've learned here, I don't know anything about art. When he was talking, because I'm used to talking to illustrators here, and it seemed like he was kind of like an opposite almost.
Well, he's the master. First of all, once you reach a level where you are an expert, you have a different opinion of things.
Well, I
Yeah.
like what he said about color because I know there's a lot of people who use heavy color, there's people who don't, and I never really thought about what he was saying before until he said it last night. So I found that interesting.
The entire point of a work of art in illustration is to tell a story. You tell a story by directing people's eyes on. You have to look at some. We have to look at things in a particular order. You look at the hero before the villain, and that tells you one story. But if you look at the villain before you tell the hero, before you see the hero, that tells a different story. How do you do that? Color is one way, shapes, positions, and a lot of these illustrators are still learning that. That's why they're the
Yes.
future
He was
illustrators.
kicking on some of the other illustrators about the color thing. I kind of got a kick and giggle. I'm sorry, I got a little giggle out of that.
See,
He's
no, it's valid.
From the little bit of work they showed on the thing, it really he looked like he's very talented, very gifted.
Oh,
Well, we
he's
know he is
he's
because
he's the man. I mean, one of the things that I lecture on is I show like 10 different illustrations of 10 different styles, and I ask people, I ask the students, what are the names of each of the illustrators? Every single one of them is Frank. It's because he had so many different styles that he did for so many different ways, and that's one of the ways that you succeed. It's your expertise is not necessarily is not really define your style.
yeah, a lot of artists have more than one style. At
Exactly.
least what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I've seen some go painting, and I've seen later on them use a shade entirely different,
Mhm.
which I didn't know anything. Santa's talking about shade, by the way. I had no idea what he was talking. I sat through two of his courses, like, wow, I never even thought about that. And then
Oh.
Tom showed me some stuff, because Echo showed me some stuff. And
No, she's got like 25 styles,
I know.
consistent styles.
yeah, they are consistent, because when I was looking at her work yesterday, first off, I didn't realize the vivid color she uses in some of her styles. It's really beautiful work. But then I've seen other stuff that seemed to have less color but more definition. And she's got great work. And that's Echo, guys. She did an interview. Her and Tom and Larry were here just yesterday doing an interview. You have to pull it up and listen to the three of them torturing each other. It was a good interview, though.
Mhm.
But, I was just surprised. But every time I see Frank, I kept thinking about Dean Martin for some reason.
Yes, he just screams Dean
I
Martin,
know,
doesn't
something
he?
about him.
It's the hair.
Yeah.
It's the hand gestures of where you think a cigarette is supposed to be.
Yeah, it was just different. I don't know, I kept feeling bad saying he's younger, way younger than Dean was. And I'm like, this is something about it. But he seems like a character too, which I always like characters. I've never been really good with mild-mannered people. They don't do well around me because I'm a character myself. So I prefer
Really?
characters.
No.
It's more fun to me. And,
We had a lot of characters on stage this year.
oh, yeah.
That was wonderful. I was actually I was tempted to try an accent on stage just to compete, right?
Well, we had some nice tuxes that Jesse. Todd had his blue one on.
Mhm.
And then Mike had his gold one on. And somebody else I'm missing something. Oh, that's right. So all three of y'all were standing out. And y'all have to go see what I'm talking about, guys. There's no way I can explain it. You're going to have to watch the game and see what I'm talking about. But it was interesting. But what got me the most, just like last year, everybody was very professional. I know these guys are going to be nervous to stand on stage in front of cameras all over the place. There's a whole live audience out there staring at you. And it's got to be a rough thing to be standing, especially for newbies, man.
They did. Author Services does an incredible job of preparing people without necessarily letting them know that they're being prepared. They go up on stage, they familiarize everyone with it. They have a very simple routine. They're very calm. They let people repeat, and and then of course there's support the entire way.
Off the stage and nobody lost their mind.
Nope.
Nobody got too nervous. Well, one person did, but other than that, it can't be an easy thing, guys. I've been on stages many, many times. but in very early days, I got a little nervous. Now I'm like, whatever. It's a stage. Who cares? So,
Mm-hmm.
I like to sit on the edge of the stage a lot of times. When I'm doing Q&A, I'll do a lecture standing up, which is supposed to. But when I do Q&A, I can sit on the stage. I like to get myself closer to the audience. They like it better, and I like it better. But this wasn't what this was. This wasn't a conference, people. This was a gala, and everybody was there. Was very, very professional, and everybody who spoke was good. Now, Joni is infamous. So what I mean by that is she's the one that calls everybody.
Oh yes.
So what did you think when you got? You're like, what I wanted to. Because I had several writers tell me, "What do you mean I won? What the hell did I win?" I was like, "What do you mean when you know what you won?"
So for me, it was a little bit different because I talk to Joni all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a judge of the illustrator, so she's constant. She calls me about 6-7 times a year. Okay, we have new illustrations. Make sure that you get it in. Are you going to get it in tonight? Blah blah blah. Sometimes she calls me trying to reach my wife. So
she's a taskmaster. I love her. I do. I love her.
You have to be because this is herding cats.
Oh, yeah.
So I got out of a car at a parking lot. I'm going into a mall. That phone rings. I pick it up. And I see it's Joni, and I pick up and I know that my stories are out, but at the same time, the judging happens about the same time. I'm completely expecting it to be about my judging aspect, or for my wife, and she say, okay, Laz, so we have a situation here. I'm like, okay. Say, well, are you ready for this? I'm like, I stop in the mall in the middle of traffic. My brain ticks over. Like, she doesn't say that. That's not one of the things that she talks to me. Like, this is actually about something. Say, you're a finalist. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, all right, so here's what happens. She explains there are 8 finalists, and then those 8 finalists are then brought up for a next round of judging, and then 3 winners are selected of those 8. She's like, this is going to take a couple days, but so you're not going to be judging this round for a little while. So this is over. We need to get this under control. Make sure people understand that this is anonymous. I'm like, yes, okay. So you're not allowed to tell anybody. Okay, we're going to put your just hold off for a couple days, and we'll let you know on that. So so I stress out for the next couple days. I mean, it's an honor to be a finalist. It really is, but you always want that win.
Yeah, you always want that extra win.
Right.
What is it? Every day is what? 3 picked or 4 picked?
There's
one a quarter.
3. There's 3 winners every 3 months. So a quarter is 3 months. So there are 3 out of. There's a first place, a second place, a third place each quarter. At the end of the year, each of the 4 first place winners are then eligible for the grand prize, the big one. So a couple days later, I'm at my art gallery, and my wife comes in. She said, she comes in and she's like, I'm going to go into the back of the kitchen and make some dinner. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for people to come in. And then my phone rings, and it's Joni. And I'm like, hi, Joni. And she's like, are you ready for this? And I'm like, uh-oh. But I can hear a slight smile in it. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, first place. She gets really quiet. She's first place. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was expecting finalists. I was hoping for second or third. First place is a completely different feeling. And I curse out loud, very loudly. I run through the back of the gallery, get into the kitchen, and in the kitchen, I see my wife holding her cell phone at me. At the cell phone is my writing partner for Australia, smiling at me. There's a cake on the table, my 2 daughters and their best friend, and balloons. And I'm like, I've been had.
Well, she knows everybody. So
yeah. So
by the way, when I said that, people, I'm here. It's blind judge. I should have never said it. I just said it just now. This place is completely blind judge. You don't have to believe me. I've talked to every judge and their mama around here.
They had not only did no idea, they didn't expect anything. It's like they didn't expect me to write anything.
And his wife's an illustrator, not a writer anyway.
No, and I'm an illustrator, not a writer.
So, but I've talked to all of them. One of the reasons I came out here last year at the Handsome John is I wanted to know for sure what I was pushing was real. I've heard a lot of things. Oh, we blind judge. We did no. A lot of times they blind judge. Give me $500.
No.
You get up. Sometimes it'll be, oh, we'll let you in, but if you want to get up to talent pool, give me 500. We'll get you up there fast. Give me 1,000. Get you up there even faster. And then all of a sudden you don't win nothing. You're just out $1,500. So
and another aspect that that all of us, all the judges are educators outside of us. That's just our personality. If we recognize something, we disavow. Absolutely, we cannot judge this. Hey, Joni. That's one of the reasons why Joni gets frustrated, because it'll be like, oh, this is great, except I kind of recognize the style, or I kind of recognize something, so they disavow themselves from the judging cert. And nobody expected this from me.
It's I gotta say, because of all y'all and other judges and a couple people I've talked to here, I've actually written 7,000 words. God only knows what it's worth. I mean, let's be honest, because I'm a rookie at best. And Ellie's like, you to submit it. I said no, because for some reason none of the stories that end up being like 55,000 words, because it's about an 11-day thing, and it's gonna probably take me another 8 months to finish it. But because they encourage me so much, and people, let me tell you this now. I'm friends with all of them up here, and it don't matter. If it stinks, I'm not kidding.
No.
I don't have to worry about it.
No.
Matter of fact, they may even recognize, oh, this Joe, just toss this now, man. It's a great thing to really come here and find out that's exactly what they said. There's no funny business, no funky business. They pay to fly you out here. They pay for your hotel. They pay for your food. They set you up, bring you this beautiful gala. They give you trophies. I mean, I don't know what else you can ask for free.
That is 1,000,000% correct. It is the most reputable contest of its kind in the entire world. Oh, additionally, writers and artists keep their copyrights.
Yes, that's a big thing.
This is, there are contests out there that charge. There are contests that charge where you send, and even if they don't publish you, they keep your copyrights. That avoid those. If you submit to this one, but avoid those is more importantly.
Yeah, because I've actually talked to a few people like that happen. They're like, well, they kept my copyrights. Writers Future. I said, no, Writers Future lets you use it. They give it back to you.
First printing rights. That's it.
Yeah, I said, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I said, guys, it's still your story.
Mm-hmm.
And people, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to meet everybody, because this way I can really get behind them. They know I'm being serious, because I have a big audience and they know when I'm bullshitting and when I'm not. And so now I feel comfortable with talking about it. I feel comfortable when I'm asked at lectures, because it's become a weird thing for me. I'll be lecturing about something totally different. And when I do the Q&A at the end, aren't you affiliated with Writers of the Future? I said, no, I'm pressed for Writers of the Future. I said, I'm not affiliated the way you think. Well, can you tell me? I said, yes. I can tell you to go to writers.com and submit. It's totally free. If you
writersofthefuture.com.
Writersofthefuture.com. I'm thinking galaxypress.com. Writersofthefuture.com. You go over there and submit. Y'all know it's all over my website, so you can find it over there. Submit. Take the course if you're a rookie. But until you go here, you're not going to know what Lazarus and I are talking about. You need to go explore the thing, see what's going on. The course is free, by the way.
Yeah, there's a small online course. There are courses everywhere. Take all of them. They're worth it.
And learn your trade. Get out there and do it. Glinda, yes, I know you bang out a book every 2 months because you're crazy.
It's short stories only for a reason. There's just not a room for that. But
yeah, I could see some 50,000 page novel. I mean, 50,000 word novels. I could just see a bunch of 12 of them submitted. Oh yeah, some judge somewhere you want to shoot yourselves after a while, especially if because you got to remember people read it before the judges, and I would feel sorry if anybody have to read all of that. I mean, Lord have mercy. And,
well, I guess there's one piece of advice to remind people want to submit, that they don't read every story all the way through.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
They read the first page or two at first, and if it doesn't capture the first page or two, they set aside, say thank you, no, and then they move on. So focus on your first 2 pages and make sure that those are great.
Make sure what you're doing grabs the judges or the prejudges. Make sure that whatever you put in there makes this grabs them. Because he's right, they're not going to go wait for 10, 15, 20, 30 pages in to see what's going on. Even if it may be good that for them, they're not going to do that. So you really need to get out there and get the book jumping and hopping and just make it feel real. We're only talking short stories here. We're not talking novels. And yeah, a novel can start out slowly and pick up as it goes on, but that's not what's going on here. So,
and people have made people have always questioned me about the value of a short story. Do you know how many of Stephen King's short stories have turned into movies?
I know. He's not the only one. I mean, there's a lot of short stories that turn into movies. So guys,
Yeah.
write. I mean, all you can do is write your story or do your illustrations. Go to the page at Galaxy Press. It's not afraid it's coming. At writersofthefuture.com and boom, submit it. Submit your work. It's easy to submit. It's not hard at all. And yes, Jeffrey, it's all blind judge. So they basically get the story. I think they put a number on it or something.
You're not allowed to put your name on the story when you submit it.
Yeah.
It's done electronically. Nobody sees the name. It's a number is put on it exactly.
They don't. So in other words, they don't care what color hair color you got, what sex you are, what. They don't care anything. All they're worried about is the story. And once it's submitted, the judges are reading it and they're reading it for what content. It's really, you can't get any better than that, because when you have, and you've got some pretty famous judges here, so when they read for content and say, hey, this might be all right, you got some people. And even if you get third place, you still are here among some of the best writers in the country. For that matter, these days we seem to be bringing in a lot of international people now. So
it's an international competition,
and I think that's one reason they brought me on board to help them out with that. It's guys, get involved. I know some of my friends, matter of fact, one of the writers the other day is like, Joe, shut up, you're making competition for us. The more the merrier. I'm looking for some good sci-fi. What part of that y'all don't understand? I'm ready for some really good movies, some good sci-fi, some novelettes or something that really make it into something good, or some good series or something.
Well, here's another thing. I think this is incredible. I call this the writer's equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. Because at the end of the year, you'll have a select group of people who are absolutely at the top of their game of the amateur world. And then one of them is selected to get an award, as the grand prize winner. But the reality is all those people are incredible and they all have incredible potential for success. Brandon Sanderson pro'd out. He never won. Pat Rothfuss won second place of his quarter. And look what he's done. Nydia Okorafor, she was just a published finalist. So she didn't actually win an official award for second or third place. And yet she then went on to pro out and have an incredible career that is she's having an incredible career, exploding, taking over the world. And she's a judge now.
And guys, this is a great thing to put on your resume, a win with Writers in the Future. It's just a great thing to have on your resume. It'll help you out. It'll help you to get ahead in your career. It'll make a difference. More people will pay attention to what you're talking about, because you go submit something to a company, or you're trying to go to one of the big publishing houses and you've never been heard of. You send them a book and they're like, yeah, okay. It gets into a big stack like everybody else's does. The guy knows if we'll ever even get read. Now it's got to win a writer in the future. They're probably going to read the book ahead of time. They're going to go to it and say, hey, well, that might be a decent book, because they know they don't just take any chicken shit winners here. So it's just one of the things to do. So submit your book, submit your artwork. That's all I can tell you. And if you do win, there is a cash, several cash. So there's, I think, $1,000 for the runners-up, right? And $5 for the.
No, it's $1,000 for first place. Okay. I don't know exactly if it changes each year. And it's $5,000 for the grand prize winner. Second and third is less, but that's just prize money. They also pay for the publishing rights to the story. So if someone can get a finalist, I said there are 8 finalists, and if there's room, they might decide to take one of their favorite stories of the finalists, publish that, and they'll pay for it. No prize money, but they pay for it. It's publication in the book. And, that's...
Now you're a published author with Writers of the Future, people. I mean, it's just a good deal all the way around. I would tell y'all know how I am. If I thought there was a scam or I didn't think this was good for y'all, I would have already disconnected with John and been all unnerved. I've been working with him for 4 years. It took him 18 months just to convince me that it wasn't a scam. And then he still had to bring me out on top of it. But it's exactly what they say they are. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I know I get a lot of BS letters about a lot of different things. All of that's been debunked, so don't worry about it. All I can say is they're exactly what they are. Everybody here will treat you kindly. They go out of the way to make you feel like you belong here. They really make you feel special, like you are that established writer. That's like they treat it. It's funny. They treat you just like they treat the big judges. I find that very interesting.
The judges treat you like peers.
Yeah, they do. And the judges are very approachable. You can walk right up to them. Now, if they're busy, they'll tell you busy, come back and see me later. But for the most part, a lot of times what you'll see is one judge with like a herd of people around. It's a great thing, people. You're just not going to get this anywhere else. You're just not going to get this kind of education. In order to get an education like this, you probably have to go to college for 2 years and spend big money.
And there end up going to be many of the same people.
So get out there. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you know what? That's what's funny because something I asked the illustrators a lot was, do you have to go to school to be a good illustrator? Now that most of them here had school, but they all said the same thing. No, you don't have to be in school. I noticed that with the writers too. I said, do you need to take like a special course and this, that? And most of them said no. It might help you in some ways, but if it's in you, it's in you. You can write it out.
It's a
Take
different
some grammar and English. I'm sorry.
They're very different. I can speak from both sides that as a writer, you are creating stories. Those stories take life experience to understand, to develop. You can be young and have it, crafting the story itself is something that, crafting the words is something you can teach yourself, but developing the stories will take time. Art, that it's a lot harder to just learn from web pages and from things. You really need someone to tell you exactly what's there, unless you're privileged enough to grow up in an environment where you see that all the time. But that's, arts education is not, great most places. However, but as I said, with words, people can tell you they can tell you what to do, but you need to put in the work to internalize it.
Yeah, you do. Well, practice through doing.
Exactly.
That's the way you do it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anybody can write a book and anybody can draw a cartoon. Don't mean it's any good now.
Nope. But then the first book and the first cartoon may not be great, but your 1,000th or whatever is going to be much better.
Actually, Renan, yes, I did write 7. No, it's nowhere near complete. And I shouldn't say this, but for me, I can cheat a little bit. Not that I'm going to submit or anything, but I can cheat. I know everybody here, so if I get in a bind, I can get somebody a call and say, hey, I'm stuck on this, I'm stuck on that. But that's only because I'm not submitting. If I was submitting, that would be different. Maybe no submit. We'll talk to you later. I'm not planning on submitting because even if I thought I could win, I'm not going to submit because I don't want to take away from legitimate writers. I can bring a novel with me or a book with me next time I come. I can have one and read it here. I send it, believe it, have it edited. But I don't want to take away from somebody who's going to really write for a living. I might bang out 1 or 2 books for my organization, but I'm not going to be a writer. It's just what it is. It's not going to happen with me. My life is too complicated and too busy. And frankly, I think I got to 8,000 words because I was here, to be honest with you. I'm not dealing with either one of my companies. I don't have to have a radio station or my construction company out my ass all day long. So, and y'all are kind of inspiring. And I think that's what's going to help all these other ones. I think y'all really are inspiring and helping out. And by the way, you're never too old.
Oh, no.
So,
or too young, yeah.
Our last year was 17 and 68. I think this year was 17 and 72. I think. Don't quote me because I'm not sure, but come on. And I've talked to a couple one of the winners last year. Him and I had a long talk, and he's going to be on with us later on. He was 68 years old. He just wrote his first novel, and he won. And he was happy as could be. And he's planning on writing some more books, so hopefully we'll get something good out of it and move on. So, doesn't matter what age you are, just submit. Really, just submit.
Yeah, we had people at the gala at the book signing come in and say how inspired they were. They're older and they thought their time has passed. I was like, no, and they're going to start submitting.
Yeah, Raymond. No, how old are you? 55. You're a little bit.
I'm 50.
See, there you go. And so submit. If you think you can submit. Yeah, go ahead. No, Nick Redfern can't submit. He's a big time publisher. He's got like 140 books to his name. How he does? Don't even ask. I don't know how he does that. 9 to 5 writers.
Yeah,
he writes like paranormal stuff, ghosties, cryptozoology, stuff like that. And it's kind of like it's a novel, but kind of like a documentary all rolled into one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he does that.
Well, then you've got Dean Wesley Smith, who just
Oh, Dean is something else, man. He's a
machine.
Yeah.
He's a machine.
If y'all know who he is, looking, but Dean Wesley is interesting. He's judging here now. He's involved more into the thing. Matter of fact, poor Dean last year, him and I were having a drink at the bar downstairs, right? Just chatting about different things. and this little herd came up and started harassing about what's an L corp, what's an S corp, what's a corporation, and D knows the answers to it. He was trying to explain it to it. These kids were getting more and more confused. I just said, look, I said L corp is living wild, guilty. You use that when you don't have no money. I said S corp is when you make a little money, man, 100 grand, 200 grand, use S corp. I said once you break a million, get a corporation. He said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Yeah, think of it like that." I said, "Because that way you don't have to be worried about a corporation right now." it's just one thing. But that's also stuff they talk about here. They talk about getting you published, what you should do, how you should deal with your money. It's just the course is very, very complete in so many ways, and so many of the judges are just so hands-on that it really tickles me, to be honest with you. But anyway, I know you're going to be getting any parting words. Anything else you want to tell anybody?
Submit, 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 submit,
He's
submit. Because you know what, I think the this phrase I've heard a couple times over the years associated with this content is that all creatives rise together. There is room for all of us. The world is devouring content. They will never stop. And, there's no reason for rivalry. I'm not sitting here going, I'm not afraid of anyone submitting just because, and just like the judges here are not afraid of me. Like we're all here together because, if when I succeed, not if, when I start publishing well, it's going to reflect good on them and I'm going to pass it on to people below me.
So again, submit people because you can't win without submitting. You can't come out here submitting. You can't even go to Gable without submitting. Well, unless you're a famous movie star, then you might get invited. But other than that, no, I had two people yesterday went gate crash while we were there.
Yep, that happens every year.
And I looked at him and I said, and I didn't want to say anything. It might have been somebody I didn't know. So I asked the guy, I said, no, they're going away. They don't belong. And that was somewhere else. We were doing something downstairs. The little old time radio show they did.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to crash it too. And I said, oh, that's another thing they did with the old time radio show. I love that, by the way. I don't know why I loved it so much, but it was funny. It was a lot of fun to listen to.
It was fun.
About 45 minutes or so.
Something like that. It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun. There was 4 guys on stage. No, they didn't record any of that stuff. They didn't record any of the classes either.
So the presentations, there are YouTube channels where you can find the L. Ron Hubbard Theater, and they do a bunch of those radio programs and stuff on there.
And as far as L. Ron Hubbard goes, you don't pay attention to the media. That's all I can tell you. I had the same opinion that a lot of people write to me about. I spent a lot of time reading his books and a lot of time going back and listening to some of his old audio clips in his own voice. He reminds me a lot of myself. He's ambitious. He liked to talk about things that he knew about. He was always trying to get into some kind of trouble. He just, the man was a captain. He captained 2 ships while he was in the Navy, 2 corvettes. He learned how to fly. He was one of 365 of the first people to get his hand glider's license. He was also a pilot. He went to Taipei. He went all over the world. And he developed a lot of things. And then he actually developed a way to help the soldiers in the Navy to heal faster. He's not what y'all think he is. All I can tell you is what I know about the man, and it's not what the media told me.
And in volume 38, there's an article he wrote from 1930 something where he was petitioning his fellow writers about why they should write stronger female lead characters.
That's true too. Well, there's several things I noticed that he wrote that he was ahead of, like when he wanted to form the official Air Force, or for the Navy, he wanted to do it for the Navy. I still remember the general talking about that last night, saying I'm in the Air Force. I thought that was a laugh.
That's the first I'd heard any of that.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff. But John's been real good. Because I didn't know who he was. And all I could go by is NBC, ABC, CBS, and the media. What's been said about him for the last 2 decades. And I found out that somebody been lying, people. That's all I can tell you. I will do, after I talk with John and Author Services, I will do a featured article on him in my own words, so y'all can get a better understanding of what I know about the man, just to dispel some of the rumors and stuff that went on.
Every human being is complicated.
Yes. And I've read a lot of his material, and I'll tell you this: I love some of his artwork from back in the day. It's so Steve kind of artwork. But anyway, but a lot of him is in his stories. Mm-hmm. He was very funny about going places and learning things, so he could write about things. So he was a very interesting. Of course, I did like the idea he liked to run around his corduroys all the time and his flannel shoes and stuff. But I tell you what, there was a couple of articles I seen him in a couple of old TV vids, or I should say real vids. Man, you wouldn't know the man was a millionaire when you see him play when he was dressed. You'd be like, what the hell? It was hilarious. But learn about him before you criticize. And you know I say this all the time, not just about L1, for a lot of different people. Before you criticize, educate yourself on the subject matter. That's all I can tell you. But I know we got to go. I got matters to get out here. I got to go get me some dinner. Until next week, have some fun. We'll be back on regular broadcast schedule starting Tuesday. I won't be back Monday, but Michelle will be taking care of that. Until then, have some fun, enjoy your life, and submit. Whether it's art, writing, just submit. What's the worst thing they can? Well, before we go, what's the worst thing that are they going to be mean to? Oh, please don't submit again. Oh, that was the worst thing I ever read. Have you ever heard do anything like that?
Nope. Just
They're just not the kind of people here. I'm telling you. If you win, you come here. They're so nice. You're going to be like, whoa! It's like the Twilight Zone. They're kind of nice, kind of thing. They're just great people. Well, no, good night. Stay tuned for whatever's coming up next. Michelle's got the reins tonight, so I will see y'all all Tuesday and have some fun.
good night.